To introduce myself, I'm John Beebe. I'm the business coach at Craft3. And this is the first of our Craft3 Business Builder webinar series. And we're really excited that you guys are taking the opportunity to join us. We're excited to learn from you in this collaborative environment. And we're excited to learn from Astrid, and she'll be introducing herself a little bit later as we get into it. Like I said, this is the first in the series, and we're really hoping to have these come out at least twice, maybe 3 times a year. And a lot of the content will be curated by you guys, the small business owners. So keep the Q&A going. We love your thoughts, your input. Really want to make this as interactive as possible. And then I'm going to hand it off to Aldo. I know that sometimes when I sit in on presentations, I feel like the presenters are talking at me. And I'd really encourage that. I hope we create an environment where we're talking with each other. So as much engagement as you're comfortable with would be great. So we're going to go ahead and move on to, oops, I don't know why that jumped ahead to that. We're going to move on to the introductions. So I will go ahead and hand it over to Aldo Medina, the Business Services Program Lead for Craft3.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody, again, for joining us. My name is Aldo Medina Martinez. I use he, him, él pronouns, and I oversee our business services program. And it's housed within the commercial lending department or business unit here at Craft3. Super excited to have these. In short, the business services program is the technical assistance arm of the organization. And it's based on 3 pillars. Business coaching, so what John and I do every day, just one-on-one coaching, really client-centered and focused. The second piece is around education, so our educational opportunities such as this. And then I'll touch a little bit about our online business platform. It's called Initiate, so you'll get to hear more about that later on. And then the third component is curating a network of professional service providers. And so, this one's critical because, we have built trusted relations with professionals such as Astrid. And so really excited to be working with her. She was one of the first ones that I recruited, and happy that she shares those same values of putting really clients front and center. And there's a big educational component to the work that she does as well as us. And so without further ado, I'll pass it to Astrid. And I'll be doing the Q&A kind of chat function. So keep those going. Go ahead, Astrid.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aldo, John, and the team at Craft3. I am deeply honored to be with all of you today. And thank you for joining us during maybe your lunchtime or whatever this time of day it is for all of you. I am super happy to be here. As Aldo mentioned, we have a really good partnership with Craft3 as one of their advisors in their network. I get to work with small businesses in mostly all Pacific Northwest and some in California, and I am thrilled to really be here with you today. I'm an enrolled agent. But for those of you who don't know what that is, I'm a tax person. So that's in a nutshell. But in general, my job is as an accountant. Besides being an enrolled agent, I really adopt technology when it comes to bookkeeping and tax tasks. And my sisters and I run a tax and bookkeeping practice that is bilingual, Spanish and English. And we focus on helping small business owners, entrepreneurs, startups, and self-employed individuals. And we help them implementing not only tax strategies, but also any cloud-based solutions. So that is what we do. We're based in Vancouver, Washington. Nadia, this is the Northwest. Nobody's really a fan of the Cowboys. Sorry about that, my friend. But I'm in the state of Washington. We are in Seattle. Some people in Seattle, so a lot of Seahawks fans here. Thank you, everybody, again, for joining us today. Thank you, Craft3, for having me and the business team. Let's have fun today.
Thank you so much, Astrid, and thank you, Aldo. And Nadia, you are welcome. Everybody is welcome, although, Dallas, rough. Okay, Cowboys. So I'll do a quick roadmap of what we're hoping to accomplish today. And please feel free. The cool thing is, so we're going to have Q&A right in the middle of this. And so we have an opportunity to pivot to what makes the most sense for you. So really think about that as we go along. And as questions pop up, like Aldo said, he's going to be able to capture those we'll be able to hopefully address those in a concise manner in the breaks we have. So this is the quick roadmap. I don't need to read through it. Everybody can take a look at it. We're hoping to touch on the high level of quite a few things, and also give a lot of opportunity for community sharing and community conversation. A couple quick housekeeping steps. We are recording this. This will be available on our YouTube channel later if you want. And for those of you that joined a minute or two a little bit later, we are going to be sharing the takeaway Initiate, so our online learning platform, and we will have a QR code near the end of this that you can either take a screenshot of, scan. If you happen to be doing this on your phone, just take a quick screenshot on your phone, and once you scan that QR code, it should take you to the invitation to initiate. So if we keep going, this is a quote that I found that really resonated to me about small business owners and just the small business community and what we're all trying to do. We're passionate about it, and we're the way we like to work at Craft3 and the way Astrid's practice works is that we put people first, and we understand your business within the context of who you are. Every person is unique, every business is unique, and there are also opportunities around universal challenges and universal opportunities of what we're trying to accomplish. So really, this quote kind of spoke to me, and I hope you get a little takeaway from that as well. So I'm actually going to hand it back off to Astrid about why it's important to talk about taxes now.
Okay, so we know, as managing our own businesses, we know that it can be complex to navigate bookkeeping and taxes tasks. Not only are you wearing the hat of your being a business owner, but you also have to wear the hat of maybe being an accountant in your business, and you have to handle all kinds of tasks every day. And I know it can be daunting for many of you small business owners and entrepreneurs. So our goal today is to create a clear roadmap that can help you transform the way that you handle your financial records and also your tax obligations. We will try to provide you with tips and tools that can help you create a very proactive approach instead of a reactive approach. We will try to highlight some of the challenges. We know that not only do you have to handle your business tasks, but you also have to organize your financial records and stay on top of this responsibility. So I know it's overwhelming. And this is why sometimes when you're adopting reacting events in your business, you can try or you can probably deal with stress or sometimes miss deadlines or have errors in your financial records, or in some cases even miss compliance with taxes and so on. And so today we're going to help you and show you that there is a way to provide a proactive solution to your day-to-day transactions and your day-to-day financial transactions. So we're going to start with a proactive solution. Why is this important? Why do we focus so much in being proactive versus reactive? Well, the difference can really make or break your business. And we are really serious about this because we know that you are in the world of owning your business and you deal with stress, you deal with all the challenges. And in addition to that, having to deal with financial misorganization can also be stressful. So we're going to address a couple of things that we believe are reactive and what is the solution or the proactive version of it. I will start with one of the things that I personally think is very valuable, and that is implementing an accounting software. It really depends on what stage you are in your business, but for the most part, if you own a business and you have transactions that record ins and outs of your cash flow, it is important to implement some type of accounting software. And what happens when you have a reactive approach to not having an accounting software? Well, oftentimes you're going to have to be collecting receipts or physical receipts putting all of those in a little box and start collecting them each month or each week or as things happen. And then in some cases, you will be able to take all of those receipts and start adding up whatever your expenses were for the month or the quarter or the week, and then wait until the end of the year to come up with some type of calculations. Now, what's the opposite to that? When you transition to using an accounting software, and I have a few examples there, you are going to digitize and create an area where you are going to manage your transactions. There will be not only the help from an accounting system, but also one of the advantages that some people don't know is that these accounting softwares, for the most part, sync with your bank account. So if you have a business bank account, let's say with another bank, a large bank or small bank, for the most part, you'll be able to connect the two and have those transactions sync so that you can then start tracking the expenses or the ins and outs of those transactions. And the best part of it is that this happens in real time. I'm using some examples here because these are the ones that I have utilized personally for some of my clients. And they all have the same function, which is to create an accurate real-time reporting of your expenses and your income in your business. The second part of it, so let's say that you already implemented an accounting software. Now what happens? Well, someone has to manage the vehicle, right? So think of your accounting software as the car, as your pilot, but then you have to be the one monitoring the transactions that are happening. So it's not just about, well, I have this working with my bank account. Now you, as the business owner or someone else that is helping you with the financial records, someone will be able to match those transactions, record them appropriately, whether it's for monthly recording, quarterly, weekly, or however you think it's beneficial for your business. When you have a reactive approach to this, you often start gathering the information, gathering the receipts, and you wait for the most part until the end of the year or when it's time to meet with your tax accountant. And then you realize that maybe you're missing documents, you're missing a few other information. And what happens with this is that you will end up not only missing some potential savings, but again, that added stress that we talked about, it's not really the ideal practice. The opposite of that would be with an accounting solution. You have a software that is automating the data, and regularly you or someone on your team or an accountant is reviewing these transactions and hopefully creating an accurate recording and providing you real-time reports. Maybe one of the most crucial parts of your small business is to monitor the cash flow. Oftentimes, some businesses pay attention to their bank account before even running any type of reports. They look at the balance on their bank account and say, well, I have enough money on my bank account, without really knowing if you have cash flow issues, if you have a good profit and loss statement, or running the correct profit or loss reports that can help you make better and informed decisions. So when you don't have any of the systems in place, you're going to start making decisions based on information that may not even be accurate. When you have a proactive approach to using a good cash flow, you will be able to, in some cases, create cash flow forecasting reports and even predict how to manage your cash flow effectively. And how you do this is by implementing an accounting software, having your records up to date constantly, and that way you can monitor your cash flow. I talked briefly about having someone help you with your financial records. One of my suggestions is that you hire a professional, and hire or an accountant that can help you with your records. why is it important to hire someone to help you with your bookkeeping and your taxes? The reason for that is because you need to have not only someone that assists you with your bookkeeping or help you in some cases to educate you on how to handle your software, but also it can help you with planning ahead, planning for taxes, right? In often cases, you notice how when you hire someone who is just preparing your tax return and not really help you with a financial strategy, you might find yourself, again, back to that reactive state of your business. So when you hire a bookkeeper or an accountant to help you, the benefit is that you have that ongoing support. When you meet with an accountant, and the goal should be that you have accurate financial reports. What I do for my clients is that I provide them with monthly financial reporting, such as a profit and loss statement, a balance sheet, or a statement of cash flow, because it gives them the clear picture of their finances. When you're not creating these reports, like I said before, you're reacting, you're looking at your balances maybe in your bank account and thinking, well, I have enough money here, then I should have enough money to buy a piece of equipment or make this large investment without really running a financial analysis of your business. Now, the advantage of being proactive is that, in my opinion, you can make smarter and educated decisions, right? So if you have constant monitoring of your business and you have financial reports that you're looking at, by the time you come to planning for taxes, this task is going to be completely easy. You will be able to meet with your tax accountant and plan ahead and plan not only for tax purposes, but also consider other reasons. Why are you interested in analyzing or reviewing the financial health of your business? You may have different goals. Maybe there is an idea of investing, like I said before, for a piece of equipment. Maybe you want to expand your business. Or if you are a restaurant, maybe you want to open another location. Or you want to purchase another vehicle if your business requires it. Or in some cases, you need access to capital. So this is where in the past, clients that we have worked with, we have been able to help them and guide them through the process of being loan ready so that they can speak with institutions like Craft3. So with that in mind, I think that all of these steps, whether is one or the other, whichever you consider is more important, I think it's important to review it from a purpose-driven act. So if you are looking at any steps or any plans that you have for your business, think about the purpose of it. Why are you trying to make this or to implementing new tools or new tasks in your business? I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that we have something else coming up.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that, teeing that up. Yeah, so there's some great takeaways in there. Really, really good content. And like Astrid's saying, this is an opportunity to address one of these as an individual strategic goal, right? So there's a way to look at this and break it out in small steps and hopefully accomplish it from beginning to end. And once you have that off your plate and it's automated, we're going to talk about automation and the advantages that it gives you as a business owner a little bit later. But right now, we would like to tee up our first polling question. So we're going to have a polling question pop up on the screen, and we're going to get live results, and hopefully it'll help facilitate where we're going to go. And then we're going to move to, Aldo's been curating those questions that you guys have been putting in the Q&A chat, right? So we're going to be able to curate those, and hopefully Astrid and the panelists will be able to help answer those in a collaborative way. So hopefully that, here we go. Nice. So feel free to answer that, or if that it actually prompts another thought or other question that you want to put into the Q&A chat, do that as well. And so I'm going to move to the Q&A chat, and we'll give this a minute to see how the results come up.
I'll just chime in. I think someone was just listening in. So the question, if you can't see it right now, is which aspect of bookkeeping is the most challenging for your business? Which aspect? And so the options are payroll integration, tax preparation, or COGS, the cost of goods sold.
Ooh. Tax preparation is running away with it.
Yeah, thank y'all for participating. Yeah, for sure. Actually, the question that I'm gonna tee up actually relates to the tax implication, tax preparation. And so the question to you, Astrid, is can you explain a little bit about the tax implications and other differences between paying yourself as an owner via an owner's draw or versus payroll? And thank you, Alex, for that.
Awesome question. Thank you, Aldo, for monitoring the Q&As. Okay, wonderful question. It really depends, and I would address it as it depends, because it really depends on the structure of your business. So if you pay yourself, if you are, let's say, a one owner LLC, those payments that you pay to yourself are going to be considered owner's draw. Think about an LLC as a legal vehicle, not necessarily a tax strategy entity. For tax purposes, so for an individual who is a shareholder, that would be part of being an S corporation status. So that is a tax entity. For someone who is under that category, or a corporation, not necessarily just S corp, they can pay themselves in the format of a payroll or wages. And with that, yes, you're able to pay yourself as any other employee or an officer of your corporation. But if you are self-employed or single member LLC, if you pay yourself, that is considered an owner's draw.
Thank you.
Since
My pleasure.
I'm in the question, I have an additional question on top of that question for you, Astrid. If you're taxed, if you're an LLC, what happens if you're an LLC but you're taxed as an S corp?
Okay, that is a combination of continuing an LLC status. So that means that you register with the Secretary of the state in which you live in, and you have a limited liability company shield as a legal entity, or as a legal vehicle, like I said before. When you are an LLC, you have the option, or you can request to become an S corporation. And by requesting, I mean, you can submit an application or a form to the IRS and say that you are requesting to be taxed as an S corporation or a C corporation. And you continue to be an LLC for legal purposes, and you are an S corporation for tax purposes. So you are the two.
Awesome, thank you. Although, should we cover any other questions while we have a little time, or should we move on?
There's one more that I think would be good, just as a quick general. So can you cover real quick the pros and cons of different accounting softwares that's best for e-commerce? They use QuickBooks, but it seems to have a lot of unnecessary features. If I could get by with something simpler and more affordable, that would be helpful. And I think it depends, and it's per business, but I'll let you kind of chime in, Astrid.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It really depends. So I personally use QuickBooks Online for a lot of my clients because we, as a practice, we prefer online solutions. And in that discovery, we have come across other softwares like Xero, FreshBooks, Soho, and these other accounting softwares offer alternatives to what I believe is Alex that's asking that. But to be honest, Alex, if you are dealing with inventory, I would continue to use QuickBooks. If you're using the online platform, QuickBooks Online has different tiers or different versions that you can pay for that allows you to track inventory. Because if you are selling online, oftentimes you have to deal with inventory. And in QuickBooks Online, the version QuickBooks Online Plus and above are the ones that provide you with that tool. Some people complain about the price. I understand it. I honestly see the benefit, but again, it really depends on your business. And like Aldo said, it's something that would have to do based on your industry and if it's important for you to track your inventory.
That's great. Thank you, Astrid. I think we're going to move on to the next section, which will sort of tie into that last question, just tie into the presentation overall. Bookkeeping. So when I work with the clients that we work with here at Craft, I really encourage them to reframe the idea and the activity of bookkeeping in the holistic practice of revenue generating activities in their business. Too oftentimes, when we're small business owners, we're like, okay, I still have to do my bookkeeping stuff. I still have to do my bookkeeping stuff. And we silo it separately somehow from the rest of our business as something not integrated in our business. And I really would like to encourage all the business owners that are on this call to sort of reframe that and look at it as the bookkeeping is a revenue generating activity. It is essential to the growth of our business. It tees us up and gets us ready for expansion. It makes us aware of challenges before they actually happen. And so really implementing some of these strategies and tackling in some of these strategies really help with our bookkeeping and with just the overall holistic health of our business. And the nice thing is a lot of these, we can actually automate them. Once we just spend the time, energy, and attention up front to get these into a system so they play nice with the rest of our business lives, it really pays off in the end. And then it's just really about curating them and growing them as we go along. So Astrid's going to share a little bit about ways to automate and gain time and really just get these so that they are elements to your business that really help facilitate the growth of your business.
Thank you for that wonderful summary, John. This is probably one of my favorite things to do when I get to work with my clients' books. I am very passionate about tools that help me as an accountant do my work more efficiently and automate it. I'm also a fan of having more time in my hands to do the things I like to do. And that involves, I don't know, maybe going for a hike or doing something fun outdoors. But in the end, it really comes back to how efficient am I with not only my clients, but with my own books. And what I like about automating tasks is that as a business owner myself, I get to free up some of the time so that I can work on other things that involve the growth of my business, like John mentioned. We will start by talking about documentation and implementing a document management solution that may or may not work for your business. So I'll share with you what I do with my own business. So we have two sides of this. We have the internal document management system, which is where my sisters and I work together and store our clients' information. And we have the external document management system where I communicate with my clients. We have a platform where my clients upload their documents and share it with us. The one thing these two have in common is that they are encrypted, they're safe, and my clients don't email me or my sisters and I between each other. We don't email documents with one another. What I like about implementing a system that allows you to control your documents is that you will notice that currently in my office, we don't have any filing cabinets. Well, maybe we have one, but the documents we have are in digital state. We have digitized everything that we handle in my business. And why I believe this is important is because as a cloud solution, I'm able to access the documents from wherever I go. And to me, that's a benefit. What I notice as well is that when I create a platform for my clients, and I'll mention the names of the solutions that I use. For my clients, we use something called Licio, and it's an exchange of messages and documents. For internal purpose, we use something called ShareFile. But for other businesses, you have many solutions. You have Dropbox or Google Drive or free solutions that are still encrypted, and they can help you in storing your information safely and securely, right? The second thing is how to automate the expense tracking. So we're talking about not only maintaining an accounting software, but also some of this expense tracking. If you haven't implemented an accounting software, there are other solutions that you can utilize. Oftentimes nowadays, you can use your phone to snap a picture of your receipts, right? So let's say that you are a sole proprietor and you're working as a sole member LLC and you want to track your miles. So you're not really interested about just tracking your receipts or implementing an accounting software, but you want to track miles and meals and all the other solutions. The advantage of implementing something automatic is that you will have that information at your fingertips, quite literally, because you can snap a picture with your phone of the receipts, track your miles, or include all of the expenses that are related to your business. The more automation, the less time you have to spend sorting through all of those receipts and totaling the amounts for either taxes or at the end of the year. Now, so we learn about why is it a good idea to be proactive and not reactive, right? Why am I so passionate about technology and online solutions? How to track your documents, how to automate your expense. But what happens now? What do I do now? Well, we have deadlines that we have to adhere. We have to be compliant. As a business owner, if you are in Oregon, you know that you have to deal with not only the IRS, but you also have to deal with the Department of Revenue in Oregon. Or if you are a business owner in the state of Washington, you have to deal with the Department of Revenue in Washington state to pay excise taxes, right? So then we have deadlines, right? So we implemented all these tools, we're automating things, but what happens if you forget? Well, set up alerts. I would strongly suggest to set up alerts and set up reminders. Maybe there's someone on your team that can help you and say, hey, I think we should create this reminder on your calendar. If you use Gmail, if you use Outlook, any email platform that you utilize, I would recommend, if you haven't done it, if you're not doing it already, create some type of calendar task or alerts that can help you. And if you are dealing with, let's say you already have you're working with an accountant, chances are that that accountant is going to help you with your deadlines. So now, why are we talking about why is this beneficial? In my opinion, it's going to also help you financially. So the whole idea here is that you're able to create a clear picture of your financial health, the financial health of your business. And you will find that not only you can save money, but you will save time because you're automating a lot of the repetitive tasks. In our practice, we try to sync and automate a lot of the transactions for our businesses so that we can provide them, like I said before, with real-time reporting. And that helps them and say, well, one of my clients may be applying for a loan and they ask, hey, Astrid, we need a profit and loss statement. And because we're keeping track of their transactions and their and reconciling their accounts, they are able to present those financial statements to their lenders. Not only is it important, it helps you making better decisions or more informed decisions, I would say. It's also helping you in staying tax compliant and to save, because one thing that you may overlook is that when you're not strategizing with your tax accountant, maybe you are paying for a service of only getting your taxes prepared. The advantage of having a strategy is that you already have your financial records ahead of time, even before the time of meeting with your accountant comes into play. One important thing that we have worked with the team in Craft3 is the access to funding. We have been able to help people in creating a path or in creating reports that help them having access to capital. And in often cases, you are in the process of growing your business. So you also need to know how is your business performing? How about your not only your profit and loss statements, how are you projecting the cash flow of your business for the future, right? And yes, we have the legal aspect and the audits. Lately, we were assisting a client with an audit with the state of Oregon. And what an auditor is going to ask from whatever government agency, they're going to ask for financial records. They're going to ask you for proof to back up the information that you provided in any given tax form. And last but not least, I would say it will give you that one thing that has no value, and that is peace of mind. So you'll be able to rest assured that you have clean financial records, that you can make better decisions, and you can plan ahead for the growth or maybe the retiring of your business journey. So in a nutshell, this is what I consider to be some of the benefits.
That's super, super great. I think this is a good opportunity for us to insert the second polling question to see how that facilitates. And then we're gonna basically jump to a summary of it after that, but we wanna make sure we give you guys some time at the end to ask your questions, and Aldo can curate them. So, and for those of you that are just listening, I'll go ahead and read it out loud. This is reoccurring business topics. What topic keeps coming up for your business? Bookkeeping reconciliation, tax preparedness, or streamlining your overhead? And as we collate those results, I'm going to go ahead and jump to the next slide. Oh, taxes. Again, taxes is crushing us. Okay, good to know. All right, so we will tax preparedness. Now, before I hand it back over to Astrid, before you so you mentioned the other thing that an enrolled agent can do that a regular tax preparer can't do is advocate on your behalf. If you were to have an audit, if you were to have any legal issues with the state or with the feds, an enrolled agent can do that on your behalf. And that's a big designation of an enrolled agent. It's a higher level. So I just want to tee up that fact that Astrid is an enrolled agent. So please go ahead and bring us home, Astrid.
All right. Thank you, John. So I'm not surprised to hear that taxes is probably one of the biggest challenges because I hear this often when we are in the discovery process with potential new clients. And I believe that a lot of it has to do with not having a proactive approach to your business. Oftentimes when we're reacting is because we're waiting until the end of any given period. And when we are not organized, when we don't have a system of either bookkeeping or accounting in place, when we're not gathering documentation properly, and we are not updating those financial records up often enough, then we find ourselves having that problem that we cannot plan. one of the advantages that I see now with technology is that myself as an accountant, as an accounting professional, I'm able to focus more on the planning stage for my clients. And I would strongly advise you to not only invest time in researching a system that you feel comfortable with, but also you have to commit to creating that space and the time to not only have a meeting with your accountant or your team, but also to implement this new tools or this new workflow that you're thinking about your business. Oftentimes, if you have someone that is better than you are at organizing and blocking time and activities, that is something that I can tell you. I often ask for help because there are things that I'm not good at. So it's important to keep that in mind. Ask for help. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And I know that we're talking about accounting records and financial records, but it's also important that you are having constant or periodical meetings with your team to review and see what path you're taking. What is your ultimate goal? Are you growing your business? Are you opening a new location? What is the purpose? And as I said before, focus in creating a purpose-driven solution, which is what I have seen oftentimes works better when you're in the planning stages. So if I can add one last thing, would say, take action and do it now. This quarter is the right time to do it. We are at the end of September. We're at the end of 2023. We only have 3 months left before you get caught up in the holidays. This is the time. Do it now.
Thank you for that, Astrid. That was awesome. I think one thing I'm thinking about when I'm hearing you speak is something I learned early on in my coaching career was, telling your money where to go rather than asking it where it went. And I think that resonates a lot of, taking that empowerment and creating those habits early on. So thank you for that. Let's see. I have a question in the chat, and I wanted to ask, and if it makes sense, if not, we'll ask the person to elaborate a bit more. But the question is, would it be vital that your tax program works with your sales program, like it can connect with Square and Squarespace?
Okay, so Square is your platform to receive payments. And oftentimes that would not be the platform that records your expenses. So what we see is a Square or payment processing system is often connected with an accounting software that records the ins and outs of your cash. And ultimately, I'm not sure if you're referring as an accounting, as a tax software, one of those that you prepare your taxes yourself. But more often, the accounting software will give you reports that you can utilize to file your tax returns. So that is that would be the usual flow. So your payment processing system, an accounting software, reporting to prepare a tax return, and again, work with a professional.
Yes, please work with professionals. I think of it as investments rather than expenses. And so it's really, really critical. And it could save you a lot of time and money and headaches. And so as we're wrapping up, feel free to continue with the Q&A. If anything kind of resonated or came up with you, feel free to do that. And one of the quotes, we're big on quotes here. And so one of the ones that I was resonating with is, small business isn't for the faint of heart. It's for the brave, the patient, and the persistent. It's for the overcomer. And so my respects and a lot of love to our entrepreneurs out there, because a lot of this is, a labor of love and oftentimes for passion or even necessity. And so, it's really critical that you all arm yourselves with some of these tools and really just reach out. And know when you need some help. And so, as I mentioned earlier, Craft3's business services program operates a online business library. And so everyone in attendance today will get a complimentary access to this online learning tool. We have a screenshot of what it kind of looks like, and it talks about money, market, and management. It's designed as a supplemental learning. And as John said, we have a cool, thank you to our marketing team, we have a cool QR code that'll take you to a landing page, and then we'll provide you access. And so really just appreciate everyone here, everyone present today. And then I think we can, any final questions, but a lot of love. Thank you so much to everyone and to Astrid. And the team at Craft3 actually.
Thank you all of you for having me. It's been a complete honor to be able to address this information to all of the attendees. I can stick around for more questions if you want to ask them. We have a few more minutes left. Thank you, Craft3. Thank you, Aldo and John. It's great to chat with all of you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Astrid. Thank you, Aldo. We do have a couple extra minutes for those of you that do want to hang around and ask some questions. That'd be great. And for everyone else that needs to pop off, thank you so much for attending. I really appreciate you so much. We'd love any feedback, input, thoughts, questions. Please contact us. These will be pushed out to everybody, so everybody will have our contact information here shortly. So
one last thing, actually, I did forget. So this is a series of workshops that we're doing, and so we're looking for ideas and content ideas to get to really answer and resonate with you. So feel free to either email us or put it in chat on what you would like to see, because we really want to make this about you.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and for those of you that are still here, the one we're leaning towards, and we'd love feedback since we've got a minute or two, is we're leaning towards small business legal resources as potentially our next topic, because that's something that comes up pretty consistently with our clients and just in the small business community in general. But we're totally open to what people might think or what people might be interested in, or what they've run across as well. Got one vote for legal resources. Copywriting stuff. Ooh, interesting. Like, so intellectual property and contracts. Contract law, that's a big one as well. What kind of contracts are we signing? And that's where it even loops back around to how do we keep our books? We need to actually provide stuff like that within the context of keeping books as well. So great.
I'm just thinking out loud here, John. Would anyone maybe be interested in some type of software training? Throwing it out there.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. Can I ask you a question about that, since we have a little time here? So when you sign up for a software, because I know that you're a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. So if you signed up for QuickBooks, what level do you have to do to get that type of consultation work?
Meaning opening your own account with QuickBooks?
No, I guess I mean more if I were to, let me back that up. What does it mean to be a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor? Is it something that you work with people specifically around that, accounting, like software training?
Yes, excellent question. So most accounting softwares will have their tips and tricks, right? And having a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor certification means that those that carry it are able to not only perform the normal tasks, but we're certified in becoming experts in that specific software. So I find it useful because it's a certification process that we go through to make sure that we are able to help our clients with the software itself.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jennifer, do we have any participants left, or has everybody decided to scoot?
There's still some folks in.
Are there? Okay, cool.
There.
3 more minutes. Yeah, it looks like we have 7 folks.
Okay, cool.
I have a question.
burning questions?
So I think one of the pieces that I often struggle with personally, but what I hear a lot from clients is, you know, as they're thinking about bookkeeping and starting some of these systems, you know, often one of the hardest parts is starting and just doing it. So do you have any advice for anyone thinking about it or putting it off? Any general advice? Or what do you do? What do you let folks know when they first come to you or when they think about it?
I am very dateline driven. I guess it's by nature because I do both accounting and taxes. I like to start with something that it's close to a deadline. In this particular time, your timing of this webinar, I thought it was fantastic because it's the end of Q3 and we're about to go into Q4 and end 2023. So this is the time when I personally start talking to my clients about tax planning strategies before the year ends. And also for people that are considering, maybe I should jump into a payroll solution or implementing some type of payroll system, then this is also a good time because you're starting a new quarter and then you want the filings to be more organized. So I usually do that with when it comes to deadlines. I try to use it based on deadlines. I think now it's the time to start. But when you are starting your business, it also helps you because there's nothing better than a set of new books rather than a set of unorganized books. So if you're starting early on, it's a wonderful time as well.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. The sooner, the better.
And with that sort of like last little bit, since we do have people in the room, we did have an awesome planning call for this presentation. I wanted to thank Jennifer and Mark and Astrid and Aldo and just everybody for participating in this. And the opportunity to get in front of a lot of these things for your business is so important. There are businesses that I work with that are actually pretty far down the road and they're profitable and they're doing good business. And then we stop and we take a look back and it's just a mess. And unfortunately, when you get to that size, it's much more difficult to actually pivot and make a systemic change in your business. And so one of the things I would encourage people to think about is I talk with business owners quite a bit to be able to make decisions with a little bit of bandwidth and distance in between you and the decision-making process. And when we're doing it and we don't have a good system in place, we haven't automated, we're making decisions like right in front of our face all the time. Whereas if we can get a little bit of distance in that decision-making process and be able to perceive things from a little further away, a little bit of planning, a little bit of automation, engaging with a really professional team around us, then it just leads to better decision-making, which just leads to a better business. So just wrapping up with that, and thank everybody so much for attending. We really appreciate it, and keep an eye out for the next one.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.